Welcome back to the least professional channel on YouTube. How's everybody doing today? So this video is going to be a comments video. I wanted to read some people's comments. A lot of people over the past few weeks have been leaving some great comments on my videos. So I wanted to make a video highlighting those comments and saying thank you for that. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. So this is the first time I've done one of these, so it's going to be a little bit experimental. So bear with me on this one. But I did want to shout out these comments. So let's just start with the most recent comment. That actually came from Tamriel is Home. He commented on the useless ghost hunting tools video from this past week. So he said there needs to be scientific investigations into this sort of thing, so we don't fully know what causes these things to happen in these areas. If it's a lot of magnetic interference, that would be good to know and find out, especially if it causes people to feel as though they're being watched. Famously, astronauts have the feeling of being watched in space. This is believed to be due to the weaker magnetic field, low gravity, etc. They also see small flashes of particles when they have their eyes closed. They also see small flashes of particles when they have their eyes closed, as they're not filtered out by Earth's atmosphere magnetic field. Now imagine that as a combo on Earth somehow could cause a place to seem haunted when it really is just a magnetic hotspot. You make some great points there. I did respond to this. We do know a lot of the science behind magnetic fields and how they work, so that's something that we kind of already have a good grasp on. But we also, there are other things, at least on Earth, not necessarily astronauts in space, but on Earth with carbon monoxide and that kind of stuff that has been known to cause hallucinations. So we know there's a lot of different things that can cause hallucinations. It can cause people to see things that they wouldn't normally see or hear or experience. So those are all things to keep in mind when it comes to magnetic fields and ghost experiences and that kind of stuff. So I had this comment from Chance40 on the same video. He said he listened to your video, was all pareidolia, and I only heard what I wanted to hear, and everyone else heard something different. Now, for those of you who don't know, who haven't watched the previous videos, I do know Chance personally. I do know Chance in real life. So we've had conversations about ghosts and stuff in the past. He believes in ghosts, I don't. In regards to pareidolia, I don't know, maybe I've tried to be clear, and I'll probably make a video just covering just pareidolia at some point, because it's a really fascinating topic. I briefly touched on it in that video, and I showed the picture of the clouds, and I talked about how you can hear sounds, and our brains are good at pattern recognition. So essentially, when you hear something that isn't actually words, your brain will hear a sound, and it's trying to pull words from that. So if it's hearing something in the static, whether it's on an EVP or a spirit box, and the spirit box especially, it's going through stations at a very high rate of speed, and it's just clicking through, and you hear static. And every once in a while in that static, you'll hear what sounds like words. Now sometimes it could be clips of words from radio stations, but not always. Your brain is trying to take that information that it's getting in through your ears, that sound that's coming in, and make it into something so that you can understand it. And it's the same way with EVPs. When you record something on a voice recorder, and you say it's an EVP because you didn't talk, nobody else around you talked, but you heard something that sounded like words. Just because it sounds like words doesn't mean that it is. And because we know that pareidolia is a phenomenon where your brain is trying to make sense of patterns, that's the easier explanation. It's Occam's razor. It's the simplest explanation is usually the correct explanation. So when it comes to that kind of stuff, you are hearing things that sound, it's a sound that's being played, and your brain is taking that sound in through your ears, and it's trying to decipher that and understand what it is. So it's going to correlate that sound to whatever the closest word is. And sometimes those sounds can be so clear that they sound like the same words to a bunch of different people. That's not always the case, but there are instances where that has happened. Those are the things that people would call like Class A EVPs. So when it comes to pareidolia, just keep that in mind. And Chance, you tried to make a point here saying that, whatever I'm hearing something completely different from everybody else. That's not the case. What pareidolia is your brain making sense of the sounds that are coming in, figuring out what the pattern is, and if it sounds close enough, if a sound is close enough to words, your brain is going to interpret it as words. And if it sounds similar enough to a commonly understood word, several people could hear the exact same thing. So I liked Bree's comment here. This is probably one of my favorite comments for a while. She said, "Hello from Idaho. Static is bad. Okay. Take your time. Reaper is good. Another great video. I can't wait until Friday. Have a great day." The static is bad MK thing. I've been dropping little things in my videos every once in a while. Obviously, I'm asking for different comments. I want to get information or get feedback, or I'm asking for comments in videos. But I'm also doing things like on screen every once in a while. And in this video in particular, I actually put up on the screen, if you're watching right now, say that static, or if you're watching right now, put down in the comments, static is bad, okay? And Bree was the only one that saw that and actually put that comment down there, so I loved that. That was awesome. So thank you for that comment, Bree. So this other comment was from Paranormal Tedium, and specifically from Rich from Paranormal Tedium. And I've checked their channel out. Paranormal Tedium is a pretty cool channel. They've got some videos on there kind of breaking down some similar things to what I've been doing. They go a little bit more in depth on some of the things, though. I would definitely suggest go check out their channel because they are really awesome. But the comment here was on the ghost hunting channels need to start doing this video. This is a cemetery chat from a couple weeks ago. And Rich said, "My issue with ghost hunters researching the history of the location before investigating said location is that it has a tendency to bias the investigation. The ghost hunting community is already coming from the biased point of view that ghost spirits entities do exist. They believe in ghosts. Go out to find ghosts, and as a result, any and all occurrences are attributed to ghosts, irrespective of whether the location has a history of alleged hauntings or not." And that's a really good point too. There are times where ghost hunters will do research before they go out to a location. They'll get some basic information, and they'll go out and they'll do an investigation where they happen to find the people from the research that they did. And that's where you have to be really careful, because when you're letting it bias your findings, when you're saying, okay, there should be something here. There was people that died here in a tragic way, so let's see what we can find out here. You can wind up biasing the investigation as you're going through it. I'll have to find the video. There was a video I watched a while back where essentially the small group, they had gone out and basically created a backstory and a history. All right, well, that was fun. My battery died in the middle of filming. So I had to swap out the battery. Where was I? Okay, so this video I was watching, these guys, they created a whole backstory for a location and to say that it was haunted. And they put up things online, and they made it so that if you were trying to research the location, you would find that this tragic event had happened there. In this instance, they didn't bring in a ghost hunting team. They brought in a psychic medium. And the psychic medium came in, and they started getting hits and finding, the spirits of all of these people that supposedly had died at this location. And at the very end of it, they were like, okay, yeah, so we made up the entire thing. Nobody actually died here. This building used to be a factory, but like nobody's died here. Nothing bad has happened here ever. And it was kind of making the point that psychics were, at least this particular psychic, was faking things, and they were doing prior research and that kind of thing. And you see this with ghost hunting channels as well. They'll do the research on a location, and they'll know, okay, I'm supposed to find the specific person. So when they go in, and let's say they're using a spirit box, and they're playing the noise on the spirit box, and something comes through, and it sounds similar enough to a name that they already expected to hear, and they'll say, oh my God, we're talking to this person that died here. So that's where your research can bias when you go in to do a ghost hunt or paranormal investigation. So that's where you have to be very careful in how you apply, and that's why I say things like EVPs and spirit boxes, those kind of things, they can be more trouble than they're worth, because when you're going in and you already expect to hear a word, or you expect to hear something related to the story that you already know, that can bias what your brain interprets when it gets that sound coming in that sounds enough like a word, and you already know, well, I was expecting to hear murder, or I was expecting to hear this particular name. And because you already expect to hear that, you know that that's the thing going in, you can wind up hearing that even when it's not actually, that's what, even when there was nothing actually being said. There's a lot of ways that investigations can be tainted by that kind of stuff. So you have to be really careful with that, with going in and doing those kind of research, doing that investigation after you've done the research. The research is important because you don't want to go to a location that doesn't have anything going on. That kind of goes back to the idea of how do we don't have a definition for ghosts or spirits, so we don't know. Yes, just because somebody died here doesn't mean it's going to be haunted. So I think before we do any of that, we really need to come up with an actual definition and figure out exactly what ghosts or spirits would be from a scientific perspective, so that when we're going into these things, we're not going in and letting this bias taint what we're looking for. So I had this comment from Rose Devil as well. She comments on all my videos. She said, hey, I love the beginning, and I'm curious what is going to happen next. To which I replied, it's going to be a fun time. In case you aren't aware, maybe this is your first time here, maybe you haven't seen any of the Cemetery Chat series, I've been doing a little kind of skit kind of thing that I've been working on in the beginning of the Cemetery Chat videos. I think I'm tempted moving forward to make them into kind of their own little series, and maybe 4 or 5 minute videos every couple of weeks. The videos that are going to be coming out this week for Cemetery Chats, I'm not going to be continuing the story in yet, because I've got some things I'm planning for it, and I want to make sure I do it right. So this week won't be any continuation. Go back and watch the last Cemetery Chat if you haven't already, to catch up on what is going on. But yeah, I'm working on that story, and I'm trying to have a little bit of fun with it. So if you guys are interested in seeing like its own thing as a spinoff, let me know. And because I'm thinking about going in that direction, but I want to kind of gauge how everybody's thinking about it. I loved this comment. Anytime I'm seeing people talking about Fred, your mom posting haha, or also your mom is the username, posting also Fred nice hat, or noise hat Fred. That was weird. Yeah, so and you can see Fred replied to her. Fred is on here. Fred will reply to comments every once in a while, so keep an eye out for that if you mention him. Fred is one of my favorite parts of the videos. He's also going to be playing heavily into the story coming up. But yeah, I don't know. Ever since I added Fred to the videos, I feel like they've been a little bit more fun to do, and not just because like he's watching me. As you can see a couple of videos ago, because of the wind, but he turns his head in the middle of the video to look at me. He had something to it. I kind of like having Fred in there. Another comment from your mom saying congrats on the 60 subs. Yes, 60 subs was awesome. Currently at 68 subs though. If I go over here to my dashboard here, but 68 subs, which is amazing to me. Over the past couple of months, a lot of you have hit the subscribe button. Appreciate it. I love you, every single one of you. My stretch goal, like I mentioned earlier in another video, my goal for this year was to try and get to 50 subscribers by the end of the year. And that was when I started back in June. So my subscriber goals for the year, I wanted to hit 50 subscribers. I thought that was would be a cool goal to hit. And then I had a stretch goal by the end of the year. I wanted to try and hit 100 subscribers. I think when I hit 100 subscribers, I think I'm going to do a Q&A kind of video. So whenever we get there, right now, like it's looking like it's a possibility by the end of the year, which that would be awesome. But even if it's not the end of the year, if it's early next year, once we hit 100 subscribers, we're going to celebrate. I'm going to do a Q&A video, basically, and ask me anything. I'll have you guys ask me any question that you want to ask me, and you can post them anytime between now and then. You can put them in the comments of this video, or I'll probably have a short video as we get closer to that 100 subscribers, just saying, hey, put your questions down in the comments below, and I'll answer them. And I want to do it as openly as possible as an Ask Me Anything. Obviously, there's always going to be questions that are off the table, but for the most part, I want to answer any question and every question that comes along. So keep that in mind. Get your questions. Start thinking about some things that you might want to ask. And you can even put them in the comments of this video, because I can obviously go back and just check them. If you do put them in the comments, put something in there like 100 subscriber AMA or something like that, just to make it easier to search, so that I can search and pull just the ones for the AMA video. Of course, I gotta shout out Mr. Gray. He commented, World of Mr. Gray commented, great video, dude. This was on the Real Ghost caption on video or fake. Loved the look how emotional they are. It has to be real. Go watch a movie. Brilliant, haha. Tony Stark snapping his fingers at the at the end of Endgame, knowing he wasn't going to survive. Now that's emotion. Yes, and that was kind of the thing. A lot of people have said, and I mentioned this in that video, that because people are being over the top emotional, it can't possibly be acting. It must be real. But actors in movies all the time, they pretend to be emotional. They pretend they're acting like, whether it's crying or anger or fear or whatever it happens to be. And they're really good at it, which is why they're in Hollywood. But that doesn't mean that the people that aren't in Hollywood aren't good at it. So you might have somebody who's never really wanted to be an actor or actress, but is actually really good at it and can get in one of these videos and go out there and act it up and make it seem like it's real. And at the end of the day, it might look extremely real. It might look like an authentic emotion that they're showing, but that isn't necessarily the case. Now, sometimes it could be, there could be a situation where somebody truly is frightened, whether, especially if they're out like in a supposedly haunted location, maybe they're an urban explorer, and something happens that they didn't expect, and something happens that they didn't expect, and they actually are frightened. So that can happen too. That doesn't mean that it's a ghost frightening them, but they could truly be terrified, thinking that they saw something, or thinking that they heard something, and it could be a real emotion, but it also could be completely fake. So you need to keep that in mind when you're watching these kind of videos, that just because somebody seems scared, one, that doesn't lend validity to whatever happened, but two, it could be that they're acting it up. It doesn't have to be that they were actually scared. It's coming from Mr. Chrome. I love this one. I heard of the Salem witch trials, but I never knew it was more widespread. Interesting. Yeah, and I didn't realize, that this was on the only witch trial in Ohio history. So one of the Ohio Legends and Tales videos, the witch trial that happened in Ohio, I had never heard of it until recently, and there were other locations around the country in different ways that they did or had some kind of somebody accusing somebody else of being a witch well after Salem was over. None of them blew up as big as Salem. Otherwise, we would have heard of them. But there were some small ones, especially in smaller communities. And there's a lot of times there's some church communities, some smaller communities that would have had somebody that would have, might have seen somebody accuse somebody else of being a witch. I know that there was another case in Salem, Ohio, actually, where somebody accused somebody else of being a witch. It was kept closed into the church. It wasn't a big widespread public trial or anything, and I haven't looked deeply into it, but I think what happened with that case was that the person that made the accusation was actually the person that was kind of being thrown out at the end of the day. But maybe I'll research that and do something into that and just kind of research that history, because it's one of those other smaller ones that most people don't hear about, and it's not really widespread online, even if you're looking for ghost stories. So those are the kind of things I'm trying to cover with the Ohio Legends and Tales series. Patty, she actually commented on the Overnight in the Haunted Manslaughter Reformatory Part 1 video. Did the two-parter. If you haven't seen that already, it's kind of a boring video. You might like it if you're into boring ghost hunting videos. It was 2 parts. We went out to the Manslaughter Reformatory overnight. There was a big group there, so we didn't really get to do... I didn't do a ton of ghost hunting type of stuff. It was more just kind of exploring the place and checking it out, because I hadn't really had the chance to do that before. But she commented, ghost hunting phone apps don't work. I hope you didn't pay money for it. And as I said in my reply to her, it was like $2.99, but I didn't pay money for it with the intention of finding ghosts. It was more to maybe add a little bit of excitement to things. Because as cool as that place was, and I definitely want to go back. I'm planning on going back next year for a private ghost tour. But as cool as that place was, if you're there looking for ghosts and you want excitement, unless you're providing your own excitement, it was kind of boring. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Nothing happened to us. I tried a little bit of provocation, which you're not supposed to do technically, but I was trying to get something to happen. And we didn't have a lot of equipment there, but I had the camera, and we were taking some pictures and stuff like that, but nothing really came out. Here's hoping that next time something else will come out of it. Quippa's Paranormal Scanner says on the Real Ghost caption on videos are fake. Videoception. But this said, you now have 54 subscribers, including me. Congratulations. Now you must give the scythe back to the poor reaper and show this to us. And yeah, I did that in the last ghost. I did that in the last cemetery chat video. An extension of the story, or actually the one before. Now, yeah, it's been a couple weeks ago now. Wow, I can't believe that. So yeah, I gave the scythe back. And like I said earlier, I'm planning on continuing that story. So I'm glad that was a really cool comment to me. Jamie Hale, I love rational and logical thinking. So do I. Rational and logical thinking to me is the only way that we can get to truth when we're trying to determine how the world around us works. So it's something that's very important to me that I hold near and dear. There's times that I'll slip up and maybe don't think rationally, especially when it comes to like my Buckeyes. But but for the most part, anytime I'm trying to determine what's true, what's not true, how can we figure this out, it's logical thinking, rational thinking, those kind of things that will get us there. It's a toolbox that you can use to help determine what is true in reality. Ty's World TV actually commented on the Finding the Grave of Bloody Mary video. They said, damn epic video, saw a few of yours, forced to drop a sub. I appreciate that. And then he asked about the Discord. So, in case you don't know, I do have a Discord. I link it in all the video descriptions. That's one of the easiest ways to get a hold of me. If you're ever trying to get a hold of me, Discord is the number one way. I see the YouTube comments. If you tweet at me or if you go on Facebook and go to the group on Facebook and comment, I'll see those. But I'm more likely to see it if it's a Discord notification because I actually get those through my phone and on my computer, which most of the time, unless I'm out filming, I'm usually at home and I've got my computer up because I use it for everything from TV, entertainment, games, like all that kind of stuff. So, and if I'm not home, I'm out and about, I've got Discord on my phone. So that's one of the easiest ways to get a hold of me. If you ever want to send me a message to say hi or give me a suggestion, I'm always open to suggestions for improvements and things. I've had a couple of comments over the time on videos about the music levels, so I've been trying to adjust those. So if you have any suggestions or any comments or something that you're like, you could improve here, do this a little bit better, shoot it my way. I take those in stride, as long as it's actually a comment, an honest comment where you're trying to say, hey, maybe you could try this, as opposed to just a troll. If you're just a troll, if you're trolling me in the comments, yeah, that's not going to work out too well. So, but yeah, head over to the Discord. If you're into that sort of thing. If you aren't really into Discord, it's not a big deal either way. I'll still always be here. You can still comment on the videos. So, alright, so I think that's about all that I've got for this video. I want to try to do these videos every couple of weeks just to highlight the comments and to say thank you to the community, because I really do appreciate each and every one of you that takes the time to comment on the videos. That interaction from you guys on the videos, that's a big part of what drives me to continue making content on the channel. I make the content because I enjoy. I felt that there was a need. there was a gap in this area of YouTube when it came to kind of debunking things, and I like to think I have a very unique spin on it, especially with the cemetery chat stuff, but also going to the locations for a lot of these legends and tales things and those kind of things. So I hope that I'm adding value. That's my goal. And to see everybody's comments on the videos, that means a lot to me. I love reading the comments and seeing what you guys have to say and responding, going back and forth. And even if you disagree with me, that's perfectly fine. I love those kind of things too, because we can go back and forth in the comment section. And as long as it's a good faith argument that you're making, I'm completely open to that. If you believe one way and I believe another way, and we're both... I think that there's too many times in this world where people that disagree get angry at each other and they don't want to talk to each other because they have two different disagreeing viewpoints. And that's everything. And that's a big reason why they say, politics and religion are off limits for conversation topics. I don't think that should be the case. I don't think it's healthy as a society for us to completely eliminate these taboo subjects from any chance of having a conversation, because what we're doing when we do that kind of stuff is we're teaching people that it's okay for you to feel any way that you want to feel and not be challenged on whatever you believe. And I don't think that's right, because I think being challenged on what you believe, that's important. If your beliefs, you should always be, I honestly think that one of the most important things that you can do is challenge your beliefs. You should want your beliefs, whatever you believe in, to line up as closely with reality as possible. And the reason for that is because it helps you when making decisions about what to do, whether it's on a day-to-day basis or on a big picture basis. And if your beliefs don't align to reality, and you're making decisions based on beliefs that don't align to reality, you could wind up making some bad decisions that could cost you time or money or even your life. So it's important to always be challenging your beliefs and be willing to say, I was wrong about this, when your beliefs are shown to be inaccurate. I think for a lot of people, a lot of times, these deeply held beliefs, whether it's in spirits or religious beliefs, political beliefs, people will cling to those and they'll make them their identity. And that's not healthy as a society for us to do and continue doing, because essentially that locks us into our own little spaces where nobody ever learns anything and everybody else is the enemy, and it causes nothing but friction in society. If we're willing to sit down on opposite sides of the spectrum and opposite beliefs and have a conversation and respect the fact that somebody else has a right to their belief, but I would also argue that the beliefs aren't sacred. My beliefs aren't sacred. I mean, if you want to challenge my beliefs, any belief that I espouse in any of these videos, I'm open to that. Now, I think that there's also, and maybe I'll do a video about this coming up here soon, there is a right way and a wrong way to debate or argue when you are talking with somebody with opposing beliefs. And one of the wrong ways is to attack them personally. If you go down to my comment section and if you try to attack me personally because of something that I've espoused in one of these videos, that's going to get shut down real quick. That's not going to work. But if you go down and you say, well, I believe in ghosts or whatever it is, whatever the subject happens to be, I think this and this is why, that's fine. If you want to tell me I think you are wrong and here's why I think you're wrong, that is fine. Absolutely. That's the kind of conversation we should be having. And I also don't believe in getting angry at each other over those kind of things. I will never get angry at somebody for disagreeing with me. The only time that I would get angry with somebody is if they are outright trolling, if they are outright being harmful to the community, talking down about especially members. If you go in and if you reply to somebody's comments, and you are replying in a negative light, or you're attacking that person individually, I'll shut that down. That's just the way that I feel about it. So I think let's get a little bit more in depth than I wanted to get with a comments video. But I do appreciate y'all watching, and I deeply appreciate everybody that takes the time to comment, watch, like, subscribe. You're all awesome. Like I said, I want to do these videos every couple of weeks. So you should probably look out for the next one, probably maybe late November. Kind of depends on how the next couple of weeks go. Got a lot of stuff planned, a lot of stuff to do behind the scenes. I had to set this whole setup up because if you notice, this isn't my normal setup. I'm not in a cemetery today. But I want to try and do videos like this every once in a while from the house and kind of getting used to doing that because it's getting to be winter out. And the weather is not always going to be perfect for filming in. You know, a little bit of snow is not a big deal. But if we have like a blizzard come through, I'm not going to be able to get out and film. So this way I have something I can kind of fall back on in a comfortable way that isn't necessarily going out. So we'll see how things go. I'm still evolving my channel. I mean, 68 subscribers is awesome, but I've only been going for like 4 months now. So still trying to find my way and figure out what to do, what not to do. And I'm very excited to have you all along for the ride. So with that being said, I think I'm going to go ahead and end it here. I want to thank you all for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.